Welcome. How you doing? If you guys are new to the channel, welcome as well. If you would mind checking out the channel. But how you guys all doing today? Oh, I forgot my intro. My name is Frank. If you don't, if you're a new subscriber, you don't know my name. My name is Frank, and this is American Eagle Rises, where we try to kind of have a little bit of everything. I kind of throw in some market stuff, and every once in a while, I try to make a personal comment or about what's going on with the United States. What's going on with how America is going on, if you know what I mean. But yeah, today, Monday, day after Sunday, biggest news. If you guys haven't heard, I guess the Pope is no longer with us. Yeah, so that's about all I'm going to say about that. If you guys want a conspiratorial, let me know down below. So, yeah, anyway, with that said, let's take a look at the markets. Uh, yeah, so SPY ain't liking today. It's selling off about 3%. So, I mean, it's not like a panic sell, but that's a pretty significant drawdown. However, I tend to kind of look at the debt market as Greg Manarino. He's always talks about the 10-year Treasury, and it is a good place to start, whether you like the guy or not, or whether you like the 10-year yield or not. Our system is a debt-based society with the U.S. dollar at its core, if you will. So, and that's a pretty much stable benchmark that everything goes around. So that's a pretty good indication of what may or may not be happening. So the 10-year yield kind of went up a little bit. So a little bit of a sell off. That doesn't look, that doesn't seem to be. But the dollar, the Dixie or DXY, relative strength of the dollar is just, I mean, it's been this way for a while. It's just like now. It's just recently. It just looks. It's horrendous today. It's. But we've been here before. It looks like when I kind of looked at the chart earlier, 2022. We'll say the depths of the I got a frog in my throat. Okay. Yeah, but yeah, gold's like, yeah, dude, the U.S. dollar sucks. We're going up. Silver kind of catching. I don't know, man. Silver is. I think it's being manipulated or something. It should be going up higher, but it's going up higher. It hasn't quite percentage wise caught up to gold. So take it for what it's worth. I think that's a pretty underestimated or undervalued days off. Monday, it's like Sunday. Brain just anyway. It's an undervalued asset. I'm not a financial expert or guru or coach or anything. But yeah, if you have an opportunity, buy some. But again, don't buy all at once. Try to get the best bang for your buck. Just keep in mind, physical silver is a different market than the paper silver, and depends on what you want to do. Long-term hold. That's what I recommend. If you're going to buy any silver, buy it with the thought of you're not really going to sell this, or at least not anytime soon. And anytime soon, I would say like 5 years. Like, plan on holding it for a while, right? So you want to buy a little bit, right? You don't want to buy a whole bunch and then have to sell it, because if the price goes down and you're selling it, then you should have just never bought it, right? So that's kind of my philosophy there. Yeah, my miners. I don't know if you guys are new, you probably won't know what I'm talking about, but I do have some money in the stock market. But the only positions that I have open right now are commodity miners, and specifically gold, a little bit of silver miners, but they do a lot of heavy other mining in particular, because silver is a byproduct of other base minerals that are extracted. So with that said, yeah, who cares about that? So, crypto. Yeah, I didn't. Sorry. Hang on. Let me look at crypto real quick. Bitcoin was up a little earlier, and now it's down. I kind of saw that with most of the indices, like the stocks were kind of down, and it looks like maybe it kind of bought up. But I think there's still people are still worried about the tariffs. I don't know, maybe worry is a good word, but there's some people that are like panicking, and some people worried. Am I worried? Like, it depends what you mean by worrying. Like, it's not keeping me up at night. I am concerned, and it is a delay effect, right? Like, don't go too crazy. Just do your normal thing. If there are a few things that you're concerned with that may go up in value or may go up in price due to tariffs, like maybe, when you see them, just purchase, maybe if you buy normally one, maybe buy two, and don't panic buy anything, and don't panic sell anything. Obviously, you got to do what you got to do. Things change, right? You got to change course. But yeah, I'm not really changing anything. But again, I don't spend a lot. I don't buy a lot. And that's really helped out, right? Like, I'm like, hey, if you don't buy anything, tariffs aren't going to affect you yet. Just depends on which tariff, which one we're talking about. But this is going to be short-lived. If here's the thing, if I'm telling you, I wouldn't worry too much about tariffs right now. Obviously, it's the thing, right? I call it the soup of the day, right? You gotta talk about it. But I think the bigger news is that I'll call it the Federal Reserve, because it's really not any of those words. I'm messing up today, guys. Sorry, guys. And the Trump, we'll call it the struggle, which is there a struggle there? Yeah. Is it exaggerated? Possibly. Is it planned? Possibly. I kind of say yeah. Yes, and yes. I think some of the stuff is a little bit planned. Is it kind of like, again, the older you get, you're just like, yeah, all right, come on, come out with it. And, everyone's lying, everyone's lying to you. Everyone's got a scam. Everyone's trying to pull money from you, right? Everyone's trying to get, ahead, and it seems like everyone thinks, oh, well, I got to rob from this guy so that I'm fine, right? And who cares? This is why I don't like to go out. Like, ever. So yeah, with that said, I think that's pretty much a market thing. And the Federal Reserve probably doesn't want to lower rates anytime soon. They have data to suggest, even though their data is screwed up. And the Federal Reserve always waits too long to cut, so should they be cutting? Probably. The economy is already destroyed. Well, it's already damaged. The stock market is really, it's not an indicator. It's just an indicator of psychology, right? So once that number goes down, everyone kind of, that's when it finally sinks in home, right? But the economy is horrible right now. So we should be lowering rates. But if you lower rates, then the prices go up. Like, inflation might come back. So, there's been all this money for a while. Has it been just stored and now it's finally moving? There's so many variables that could go up and down, and you're like, well, wait a minute. If the dollar's going down, like, why is stocks going down? Right? Like, you would think, right? So there's multiple variables going on. So, but keep an eye on that, right? The Federal Reserve, Powell or whatever, they don't like Trump, right? And Trump's trying to say, hey, you should be cutting rates. It's actually ironic. Trump should probably not say that, but I think he's just trying to get them to do something, and then he'll, it's going to be this game, right? Oh, well, he didn't lower rates. Well, I told you to lower them and you didn't, and now prices are up. So whose fault is it? Both, right? Both. But that's like, I call that Trump 101. That's what Trump does. Whether you like it or not, right? That's how he gets results. That's how he negotiates. And you know, he could negotiate more brutally if he really wanted to. But the 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 thing is like people. It's like people just look at what's going on today, right? They don't know next week, next month, next year, right? Trump looks at a. And I'm only saying this because I've read his books and I've read what his thought patterns are. So, you know, could he have changed these? Probably, right? But he has a higher. He's always looking for great deals, and he's always keeping his eye on things. And he, you know, some of the things he kept his eye on, you know, for like multiple decades, and finally was able to do something about it, right? But he doesn't really get into bad deals. Like a lot of times, he gets into good deals, and then he just makes them better. Now, again, it's not overnight. So, but the way that he rolls, right? You kind of say outlandish stuff, right? Like for me personally, I don't have a hard time doing that, right? But he probably knows all the, you know, fighting behind the scenes and all the crap and the corruption, and so sometimes you just say things and people are like, oh, so people, right, will react to that. So he actually does that so then he sees what, you know, not necessarily his opponent, right, or his enemy. He just wants to see what the other party does. And he's got contingency. So like I said, guys, buckle up. Again, he says things and then it's like, well, wait a minute, he didn't even do, you know, like he didn't do half the stuff that he said, right? That's, again, let's segue into what I really wanted to talk about. So if you guys don't know, and let me see if I can bring it up here. And I don't know if you guys are fully aware of this. And this has been going on for a long time. What am I talking about? This Real ID thing. And you're like, what are you talking about? Yeah, so 20 plus years ago, right? And this is actually, and this is ironic, right? This is how long sometimes things take in society or history. You know, and it's like things just change as you go forward, right? So we all kind of remember what happened during 9/11, right? I'm not getting into the, you know, planes can't take down buildings aspect. Put that over to the side, okay? Would be a nice thought experiment, right? But anyway, so the government's like, right? They, you know, these people got on planes and whatever, and there's, you know, right? They always take a situation, right? But anyway, the long story is that, oh, hey, we need, you know, a better system to track, you know, IDs and stuff, because you used to be able just to get on with a driver's license, and pretty much everyone had them, and there was no like standardization. Like most states had a very similar, but some things just, right, and, you know, database here and database there, nothing was centralized, right? So you kind of wonder if they, you know, was this pre-planned beforehand? They probably wanted that beforehand, but, you know, hey, never let a good crisis go to waste type of thinking here, right? But so in 2005, they kind of said, hey, let's come up with this. They called it Real ID. It wasn't necessarily a database, but it was like saying, hey, here's new guidelines, this is what we want, right? So, you know, part of the TSA, and, you know, you can't just get on, right? So it's not good enough, right? You need, if you just have a driver's license, you got to be Real ID compliant. Or I think a couple states have what they call it enhanced, right? So that actually goes into effect this May. And they've been trying to implement this. Like I said, it was passed in 2005, and then it was supposed to be, I think the first time was supposed to be under Obama. I call him Obama because he was a bummer. Somewhere, I'm trying to remember 2000, somewhere around there, and I think in 2015, and it just kept getting delayed, and this and that, and then I think like in 2021 it was supposed to happen. Right, but we all know the cough, right? Like the cough. That happened in 20, so they postponed it another 4 years, right? So here we are, finally. You know, is it going to get delayed? Probably not. I mean, May 7th is what, like 3 weeks from now? So, yeah, don't. But yeah, so were you guys aware of that? Like, I kind of was, and then, like, I dragged my feet on it, and my IDs, so my, whatever, driver's license, right? It's not a state ID, but you can use your driver's license as a state ID here in Michigan. Yeah, I know. Can we just have one word to describe one thing? No. So, but I've had a passport. I've had a U.S. passport since 2003, right? Because right after 2000 or 9/11, I worked actually for a supplier that worked for GM, and there was this plant in Oshawa, which is like just east of Toronto. So to cross the border, right, we're like, oh well, you're probably going to need a passport, and because I would go out there for like a week at a time. So my company, right, they got me to, hey, I got a free passport, and then before then I never needed one, right? Because I didn't travel anywhere outside the country. So at that time, you didn't need a passport. You didn't have to show a passport if you were flying domestically, right? So now you need this. If you basically what it comes down to is if you have a passport and it hasn't expired, you're good to go because you can use a passport for international and for domestic. And it's kind of funny because I didn't know this about that. So we have a normal passport book, right? The little, the book, and you stamp it, right? You pretty much use that for international. And then they have what is called a passport card, right? So you can use that if you have both, and I think I have both because I renewed mine, in 2021, something like that. I renewed it, and I think I asked for a passport card, so I probably have one. Probably should look for it and probably put it in my wallet, right? I just don't use it. I got a passport. But yeah, the passport card you can use for domestic flights, and I think for like Canada and Mexico. So I believe it's a North America thing. Don't quote me on that, but I know it's definitely good for local or domestic flights. I'm pretty sure it's good for Mexico and Canada. I can't, it's the Caribbean, North American, right? It probably is, but we don't treat it that way. But anyway, with that being said, right? So the one thing that everyone a long time ago was talking about was like, oh my gosh, there's gonna be these databases and collecting and blah 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 blah. Like, we probably already have that, right? Like, if you're worried about that, like, I'm pretty sure, right? If you have a social security number, right, you got all this stuff, right? The government might have all these databases. Now, are they all centralized linked? You could kind of say yes and no simultaneously, right? But people were thinking this was going to be a separate thing. It was going to be a national ID, and it's not a national ID. Now, could it be changed over time into one? Yeah, but anything probably could, right? Or they might just say, hey, screw it. We got a new system, right? We got this, it's going to be, you got to get this app on your phone, right? And then, and then all your stuff's linked to it, and you got to have crypto, and I don't know, man. Well, some version of that's probably coming, whether we like it or not. But yeah, there's no. This is a national ID thing, and it's not like they're trying to get data because, to be honest, they probably have all the data that. Even if you don't think they have it, they probably have it. From my understanding. Now again, how much have they been recording of our stuff, and who knows? I mean, there's a lot of server farms with a lot of data on it. Like, they logged every single click and everything you've done online? I have a hard time believing that. That's it. The issue with that is that's just so many data. That's just so much data to keep a hold of, right? And going every living second afterwards, right? You got to keep adding that data. That's just too much data to house. I mean, it's not really feasible because you would have to be like having like complete warehouses in the middle of nowhere, just holding this stuff, right? And it's like, all right, you have to keep progressively adding on, right? Now, do they keep some of that data? Maybe, right? I mean, they might have a little list of, you searched on, the gold standard, or you know what I'm saying? Like, they might stuff like that, kind of like, if you were, kind of like me, like pushing back on everything. Oh yeah, they probably got a book on me. Probably since I was like, on YouTube since 2009, because I was a big Tea Party or whatever the hell they called it at the time. So, yeah, I'm looking at the rest of this. Let me put my glasses on because I think this was from MSN. Yeah, and don't get me started. Yeah. So this is from today, and I'm pretty sure they've had it out for a while. But yeah, you can go to tsa.gov/real-id, or you can just Google that up or whatnot. But yeah, so the summary today, right? I don't agree with it, but I mean, the government's got to try to have standardizations, right? So I, from that perspective, I would agree and support it, right? I don't think we should have a card to do that, right? But it is what it is. Now, I think some federal buildings you need this real ID. What I don't know is, will the passport suffice for that? Like, I know the passport is fine if you don't have real ID for domestic flights, and to be honest, anything international, right? So I would think it would be. They didn't get into this in this article. So my gut reaction would say yes. Like, why, if I already have a U.S. passport, right, why do I need another ID, right? Because that typically the government, to be honest, the government wants everyone to have a passport, the passport book, right? If anything, that's what they probably should do, right? But not everyone has a passport. But anyway, the reason why I didn't get one, right? I'm like, I already got a passport, number one, right? Number two, I don't want, the state of Michigan already has whatever the damn information they got from me, right? So what, right? My point is, like, you already have the data. Why do you need another system? No one's, the government might have a decent theory into why they need it, right? It's kind of shaky at best, but right, there's some element of we need something, right? So we can argue, are they doing it right? And yeah, there's probably a better way. And yeah, all right, it's probably our tax money is being siphoned to go somewhere else. But like at the state level, it's like, why? It's like, I got a state ID already, or a state driver's license. Like, anyway, that's for today for the U.S. discussion here. And oh my gosh, it's been over 20 minutes. Sorry guys, I'm trying to keep these not too long. But I kind of babbled a little bit on the economics, and then I kind of babbled a little bit on the ID thing. So, what do you guys think? Do you guys have a passport book? Do you have the card? Do you already have a driver's license that says Real ID? And it should say it somewhere on the side. Real ID compliant. And mine doesn't say that now. It doesn't say it, but the new ones, if you do, got it. I'm pretty sure, because I just got my... When did I get my... I don't remember. A couple years ago. Actually, I think next year I need a new driver's license, so I might have to actually show up. Talk about, I hate Michigan State, whatever, Secretary of State. It's not. I don't know. I haven't been there in a while, so maybe it's better, but it's a pain in the ass. Anyway, with that said, hopefully you guys are having a good day. Again, it's actually pretty nice outside. A little windy, like windy as heck here in Michigan, but it's like it's like 67 right now. So I went out walking earlier. I don't feel exhausted. I still feel a little tired. I don't feel horrible. I kind of just feel like, I don't feel like doing anything type of thing, right? So I'm trying not to feel either guilty about that, and just kind of like, all right, if you're gonna do something a little light. Just do a little bit, and then whenever you want to drop it. So I don't know. We'll see. I might just putz around and just be like, I'll just deal with it another day. So again, thanks for stopping by, watching the channel. If you're new here and you like what you see, please consider subscribing. But that said, though, I'll see you soon. All right, bye. Let's see if we can find the stop button. All right, there it is. All right, bye.